All right. Well, thanks for coming on Perform Podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
So obviously, you have one of the most, I would say, iconic careers. You started quite young. I want you to give us
hmm
a bit of history in terms of like when you first got started in the game and how it kind of, turned into you becoming pro.
Well, it's pretty basic. A lot of people I meet now, young kids, they all want to be number one overnight. It's like if they get a job Monday, they want to be CEO by Friday. There's no patience. So, I never got into it to be a bodybuilder. It's just that when I was 12, 13, He-Man cartoon come on TV and I thought He-Man looked pretty good. So I just wanted to look like He-Man. And plus, 86 was the same time Rocky 4 come out and had him training in the old barn in Russia and that. So I'd go into my garage and start doing just normal basic body weight exercises, chin ups and sit ups like he was doing, and
Mm,
just lifting things in the garage and stuff. That I got a basic weight set, then went to a gym.
mm.
So at 13, I sort of got really, I wouldn't say like super serious, but I just started going to a gym and doing proper programs. And then after 8 months of training, when I was 13, some guys at the gym who compete say, you got a okay physique. Excuse me. There's a schoolboys division, which is under 18.
Mm.
So at 13, I entered into that and I got one of my first three bodybuilding shows when I was 13 years old. So I
Wow.
did three of them that year. And then when I was 14, I did a men's open and placed third. And then 15, I just did some more shows and won the state titles. And that at 16, I just had a year off because I still enjoyed eating like I do, getting fat. So said I'm not going to compete at 16. Then 17 is when I won my first overall Mr. Australia. But they said I was too young to go pro. So I
Mm.
won it again at 18 and 19. They still said I was too young to go pro. But
What?
even when I was 17, my mother, she was 38 at the time, and she's like, if I ever get in shape, will you compete with me? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Who wants to be seen on stage with their mum? I'm 17 years old. How embarrassing. So in 8 months, she got in shape, and we were the first mother and son to compete in the world and win a national title together. So it was good we did that. And, then the story goes at 19, I come to America to do the Niagara Falls amateur show. And
Mm.
when I was at Gold's Gym, Jim Mannion saw me and was asking, what have I done? He goes, why aren't you professional? I said, well, they said I was too young. So he contacted Wayne D'Amelia. Wayne D'Amelia contacted Australia. So in the end, I got my pro card when I was in America and I
Mm.
did the Niagara Falls pro show. And like I said, I only planned on going there for 2 weeks.
Mm.
But the first week at Gold's, I did a photo shoot with Irvin Gelb.
Mm.
He got Ed Connors, that was one of the owners of Gold's at the time, to come down,
Mm.
took some photos. He sent them to Joe Weider. Then in a couple of days, we had lunch with Joe Weider. I got a contract. So 2 weeks turned into 20 years.
Wow. Wow. So your whole career up until going pro, you won every show.
Pretty much until like the bigger ones, like there's older men, like the one I got 14 in, and then another one I got runner up, but pretty much all of them I won them. Yeah.
Wow. And then so how did your mom do? Did she become pro as well?
No, she just did a couple more shows, amateurs, and won them, but then she just gave it up because her main goal was just to compete with me.
Mm.
And then later on, my daughter, she got into the figure type side of it, and she got her pro card, but she doesn't do it anymore. She just did it for 2 years to have fun, and then just, got a normal job to be normal.
Yeah. When you look back on obviously, your legacy, was there a moment in time where you got up on stage and you realized like, holy shit, like this is some serious competitors? Like when you turned pro, was
Mhm.
there ever
Uh, I always thought that it's like here's one of those things. No matter how good you might think you look, or your friends tell you backstage you look good, just looking around the room, I always tell people, you got to be strong physically, but to get into anything really in life, bodybuilding, anything, any job, the strongest thing you're going to use is in your mind, because that pretty much dictates what mood you're in, how you're feeling, how you're thinking. So when you get to that point of your diet competing, whoever you look at backstage looks better than you. Probably the guy on the microphone you think looks better, because you're just in that headspace where you look your best and feel your best, but mentally you're just like, you're just not sometimes with it. You just want it to be over and done with type thing. And I remember plenty of times I thought I looked like crap. I didn't even want to go on stage. And
Mm.
then when it's over, you see the photos, you're like, oh shit, I didn't look that bad after all. But the mind games are probably the worst. So I pretty much say everyone, because I respected all of them, because I never went into a show. I know people say you should go in with the mindset to win. I was never like that.
Mm,
I just knew as long as I did 100% dieting and training and cardio, then it's out of my hands. I can only look the best I can look. And once you get on stage, well, it's up to the judges where they place you. So,
mm,
and back then it was only the one open class. There was no classics or 212s and that. So,
mm,
me winning pro shows, getting second, top six at the Olympia 3 times, to me, that was as good as a win,
mm,
considering I was up against, Dillette, Dorian, Nasser, Flex Wheeler, Cormier,
mm,
all the bigger names in the sport. So, I
mm.
was quite happy to get runner ups or third places against those guys. So,
Do you think that genetics was a big part of your success?
yeah, it would be. Genetics are a big thing in everything, any sport, because
Mm,
I know, I've always got it from when I was young. He's on steroids, he's on steroids. And I've always been open
mm,
just before I turned 20, because I was turned pro now, because got my pro card then. Up until then, I was natural, and you can see him. I just saved a picture from Facebook a second ago where
mm,
had Lee Priest 19, but then just before I turned 20 at 19, enhanced, and you can see the 20 pound of muscle I put on it. So you can see when I did use it. So,
mm,
it's just one of those things. Genetics, like I said, but if you don't have the genetics, yeah, you can take gear and you might put on a bit of water weight, you might gain a little bit of muscle, but it's like anything. You're not going to turn shit into gold. But sadly, if people, if I took what you were taking, I could look like you. It's like, oh, you think it's that easy, do you? Because, it's like you pick any other sport. Some people are just born for basketball, baseball. They just had the genetics for that sprinting. Because, well, look at even sprinting. You watch the world, if they have the World Games on or the American Nationals or the whatever Olympic game trials, how many people can run that 100 meters in like flash, and
mm,
there's only like, almost a drag race. You might only have hundreds of seconds
mm,
from first to fifth. But it's
mm,
like, you could have all those runners, they could take all the drugs in the world, but they're not going to be a Hussein Bolt or a Carl Lewis or somebody. So, I think people just look for that easy cop out.
mm,
If someone's bettering them, it's like, I remember seeing, like, you'd be standing there and a guy would go past in his Lamborghini. Oh, look at him, fucking arsehole, must be a drug dealer. It's
mm,
like, how do you know? He might have just worked his ass off and got a great job and might
mm,
be an investment. But it's so funny how, if anyone sees anything better than them in any walks of life, they're either cheated their way to get there or they're doing something wrong to get there. So people
mm,
just can't believe that if you put in hard work and you have the determination and dedication, it might take years and years and years, but you'll get there. But people in their mind want it overnight. And I guess the only way to get there overnight would to do something that would be illegal. So,
mm. Now with all right? If you started over, say you started over, you're 20 years old right
yeah.
now, what would you do differently?
Probably only two things I'll probably do is, like, in the off season, I always just used to get heavy because,
Mm,
I got to 285 and I never really stage my meals. I just eat whenever. So sometimes off seasons, I might only have 2 or 3 meals a day. So maybe the off season, I might have eaten more regularly to see if it would have made me any better. But, I was happy with how I looked. So I don't know if it would have. But I think the main thing I would have done would be, like, in the beginning, you always think, if you get ready for a show and you're into bodybuilding, you've got to be hardcore. You can't have fun. You
mm,
probably hear it all the time.
mm,
Someone's getting ready for a show. Oh, I'm depressed on this, on that, or you won't leave the house. So, and I
mm,
was like that for a while, but then probably towards my late 20s, it was almost like, you know what, I can go to the gym and I can eat my diet food, but if my family's got a function on, I can go to it. Or if the
mm,
wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever asks you to go to a movie, guess what? You can go to that fucking movie. So I think if you just get so narrow minded, you just get so bodybuilding 24/7, a lot of good shit passes you by. It could be friends, outings, or adventures. And yeah, you might be, because I'd sit there too and I say, like, Illy, you want to come to Christmas dinner? And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, great. I got to sit there and watch you eat all the good food and I got chicken and rice. It's like, well, I chose to do that. But then a lot of times I wouldn't go. But then I think, shit, you're missing out on all that family time together with family and friends. So I
mm,
would tell them, if you're going to do it, you can still do it properly and do it hard, but don't miss out on the good stuff in life while you're doing it. So.
mm. What was the hardest part for you, like with competing? What was really like difficult?
Mainly just, like I said in the beginning, just eat, sleep, and training, and not being able to do much else until I
Mm,
learnt. yes, you can. Because towards the end, I started the drag racing as well. So some weekends I'd be at the gym and then I'd go be drag racing while I'm getting ready for a contest and stuff like that. So it was good to actually have that distraction, because if your mind's just focused on something 24/7, you're generally going to burn yourself out. You burn out people around you because they're sick of hearing about it. So if that's all you talk, bodybuilding and diets and drugs 24/7, it's like all my friends, we never discussed it if we weren't at the gym type thing. But
Mm.
yeah, so I think, just doing that, you just got to learn to, like I said, balance it all out and that sort of thing. And then, like I said, if you have fun doing it, you'll achieve a lot more. It's like anything, if you can find a job or do something you love and get paid for it, well, it
Mm.
doesn't feel like a job, does it? I know so many people are just stuck in situations where I've got to go to work and especially in a building, I'd probably go mad if I'm sitting in cubicles and it's the same people every day,
Mm.
listening to the same shitty stories every day. I'd
Mm.
probably go mad. So,
Mm.
really, if you can just find something you really love, and then, like I said, if you can do that and get paid for it, well,
Mm.
you've got a much better fun in life.
Was there ever a time when maybe you weren't feeling your best, like maybe you were sick or maybe you had to push through, you had to basically do something to kind of like, get past whatever was going on in your career? Can you give us some insight on how you did that? Like how you kind of, programmed yourself to just go ahead and do it?
And not have I just had a strong mind, but I was pushing through pain or anything like that. And I know one year I got like a cardiomyopathy just from a virus of the heart. So, like, it just doesn't contract. And I remember the nurse telling me I was going to die. I was getting ready for one of the Ironman shows. I ended up still doing it, but
Mm.
I came off all the gear and just did it naturally. I was probably, I think I got 50 in that one, but I still looked okay because I dieted down. But I remember when I was in the hospital, the nurse is like, "You're going to die." And I was with my wife, Kathy, who was a bodybuilder at the time. I'm like, "What?" I said, "That's pretty straightforward." I said, "Going to die." So she brought me in this food because I've been dieting now for probably 2 months or so, 2.5 months. And I
Mm.
remember it had like chicken and just like plain chicken and vegetables. And then there was chocolate cake on there. And she goes, "Now don't eat the chocolate cake," because I think, well, why give it to me if you don't want me to eat it, for one? Because
Mm.
I've got to do more tests and the sugar will mess the tests up. So when she left the room, I just started eating the chocolate cake, and she come in and she went off. She goes, "I told you not to eat that chocolate cake. We've got to do more tests." And I said, "You also told me I'm going to fucking die. So if I'm going to fucking die, I'm going to eat the chocolate cake, not the chicken." But that was just stuff like that. But I still ended up competing. But mainly, it's like anything. It's just your mind. You got to push through it, because I always tell people, training or anything, pretty much anything in your life, your mind will always give out before anything. It's like if you're going to do something, rather than think of good, your mind will always think of the bad shit that could happen. Well, if I do this, that could happen. Or, some people are scared of heights or roller coasters. But generally, I've had a friend that was scared of them, and I finally got him on one. I had the best time ever, because it's pretty much up here that makes it a lot worse
Mm.
generally to what it's going to be. So when it came to training and that, it's like, it's like anything. If your mind, I mean, your body's experiencing pain or something that's uncomfortable, your mind's going to tell you, "Hey, stop doing this. It's not good. This is hurting."
Mm.
So with bodybuilding, I was always like, "Yeah, okay, it's hurting, but I know it's not going to kill me." It's like, yes, it can get excruciating, the lactic buildup, and feels like a knife cutting through your
Mm.
muscles and shit. But if you can push through it, just push through it. So
Mm.
that's all I just learned to do at a young age. And my mum said in lots of interviews, she couldn't watch me train because she'd see how much it was hurting and the pain I was in, but I just keep pushing through it.
Mm.
It's like you just find that place where, people say find that happy spot or something, where I could be looking in the mirror. And that's what I used to hate too, because people go, "Oh, you look at yourself in the mirror while you're training." I'm like, yeah, I can see an image there, but I'm not registering it's me, because once you're in the zone of, if you're squatting heavy or doing something, yes, I can see this image that's going up and down, but I probably couldn't even tell you what shirt I had on from the image, because it's almost just like a shadow figure going up and down. I'm just following it because I'm just so focused on
Mm.
what I'm doing and the pain that it's not like I'm staring at myself going, "Oh, Lee, man, look at your legs. They look great. Yeah, push up another one." It's like, you're not admiring yourself. It's just like you're just using that as a reference type thing sometimes. So,
Mm.
yeah, I think it's just like I said, just learn to use the mind early to push through shit like that and not really worry about it, because, like I said, it's not going to kill you.
Mm. What was your sort of, call it your like guilty pleasure? Like, was it like smoking a cigar, having a few drinks? Was there something that you did that maybe wasn't the best for you?
Probably ice cream, McDonald's, Kentucky. I never, until I retired, well, I got forced into retirement by a car accident, which crushed nerves in my neck. I had to get two neck operations. So
Wow.
that sort of made me couldn't compete anymore. Because in 2013, I was 42 and I
Mm,
made the comeback and won the universe. And a
mm,
year later, I was going to compete again, but then got T-boned. And so I got a bit of muscle atrophy in this tricep and chest from the nerve damage.
mm.
So that stopped me competing. But yeah, it was always just the off season, or even if I was dieting, I might have some ice cream. That was my guilty pleasure. But up until I retired, never drank, never smoked, never did anything. Didn't like the taste of alcohol, so I didn't have any guilty pleasures when it came. Even I remember all the studies coming out. Red wine's great for you; it can help you. I
Mm,
tried drinking red wine. I'm like, oh, that tastes like crap. So
mm,
I like his grape juice just as good before it ferments. So
mm.
I'd drink grape juice, but I wouldn't go far as the wine. So no, never really had any guilty pleasures as far as smoking or drinking. It's probably just food. I just enjoyed food more than anything.
For a lot of the guys that are watching this, one of the things that might be running through their mind is like, how much of a commitment time-wise would you say
Hmm.
you're preparing for them to go get on stage? Like, are you looking at like 4 hours a day for training? Like,
Well,
what's the sort of,
everyone's different.
yeah.
Everyone's different. Some people are like, they love, well, Dorian Yates did 45 minutes, but, in the beginning, Dorian didn't do 45. It's like, once you've got all that muscle there, you could do 45 to maintain it and stuff once you got it. But
Mm,
normally I'd say an hour to an hour and a half. I used to like training, sometimes 2 hours if it was legs. But
mm,
a lot of it too, I learned from Tom Platz. I just trained by instinct. If
mm,
I felt like I had more, I'd keep doing more. Sometimes I might say, I'm going to do 4 sets heavy for chest. If I get to my fourth exercise, I'm like, you know what? I feel like I got more and go heavier. I'll do another set. So I
mm,
never let sets or reps limit me to that's what I got to do today. If I felt good, I just keep going. So
mm,
I'd say training wise, you probably, because I used to train back then, I'd probably train an hour, hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the afternoon.
mm,
Plus, that's all I did, and I like eating food. So when I was dieting, even I wouldn't cut back my food. I'd do 2 to 3 hours of cardio a day. But no, not many people have to do that. Some people might only train once or twice a day and do 1 hour cardio. But I'd say a day you'd need at least 3 hours,
mm,
three
mm,
to four if you're going to go into competition. And then you just got to be patient with it too. But
mm,
because depending on how you train, some people say, oh, another thing too, people get into the drug side. I had lots of people too where when I said I do cardio, they're like, I don't do cardio because now they got so many fat burning products out there. Back in the day it was clenbuterol, and then they had another one you could get off the doctor. It's like a mild speed. It just takes your appetite away, probably similar to these some other drugs now.
mm,
But it's like I said, look, they will help a little bit. Even the fat burning ones you get over the counter that sort of increase your core temperature, they help to an extent. But it's like I tell anyone, nothing's going to beat hard work. You can take all the drugs you want for fat burning and building muscle and stuff, but you still got to bust your ass doing the cardio and eating correctly and stuff like that. But it just, when it comes to anything now, people want that magic pill. They want the easy way out. And I'm sure if you talk to anyone that's made it in any walk of life, it wasn't easy unless it was handed to them down from someone passed on and they got it in a will. But anyone that's got to the top has had to go through a lot of shit and it's been hard. So like I said, nothing comes easy. That's for sure.
no. Tell me a little bit about, obviously you've got this injury, so you're probably on the recovery
Mhm.
path, right? Are you using any peptides? Do you have any
No,
hacks for anybody out there for recovery, whether it's, ice baths, stretching? Like, what do you recommend for people that
no.
maybe they're going through an injury, maybe not as
Uh,
intense as you,
it's,
but they want to
it's
get
hard
back.
to say. It's hard to say. I'd always just go seek a professional's help because, I've gone through the chiropractors, this and that, and some work, some don't.
Mm,
I tried the ice bath once. I'm like, yeah, screw that. I wasn't really into that. It just seemed like a passing fad. It seems like the infrared saunas now are the next big thing that I see people getting in their houses. So, I think the main thing is just to maybe when I used to do it was just stretching and all that before exercise and after, just little preventative stuff like that. So you don't really have to get to the point where you need someone. But even after the operation, the two neck ops had to do that rehab shit. And then because it's nerve damage, it can take forever to heal nerves and that compared to muscles and tendons. So I'd always just tell people maybe do the preventative side first, stretch, warm up properly. Even though my accidents, I never touch wood got injured in the gym. When I
mm,
tore my shoulder, it was moving a TV. When I
mm,
hurt my back, it was just digging a hole in the backyard and the shovel got stuck under a root. And when I went to rip it, I
mm,
didn't know the shovel was stuck under a thing. So yeah, because I think, in the gym, generally in the gym, I'm always cautious and you know how to lift the weight, you're focused. I find a lot of time people either get injured warming up because, if you're warming up, if you're just doing a bench press and your mate's there, you'd be warming up. Yeah, so what'd you do on the weekend? Oh, yeah, oh, shit, because you're not focused. As soon as you go heavy, you're focused and
Mm,
stuff like that. The same as at home. If you're going to lift up a TV, okay, the TV might only be 100 pounds or something. You're not warming up, you just go, okay. And
mm,
something like that happens. So that's how I think I got injured
mm,
more outside the gym, because in the gym I always warmed up and did stuff like that. Didn't stretch as much, but starting to stretch a bit more now because I got a pinch sciatic and stuff like that. And every time I travel to plane flights, especially from Australia, everywhere from Australia takes forever to go somewhere. So next Sunday I got to head to Germany. So I expect my sciatic to be on full alert on my plane flight while I'm standing at an expo. So,
mm.
but I would just say try to be preventative more.
Was there somebody that comes to mind that really pushed you, whether it was a coach or a training partner, to help you kind of like push to the next
Mhm.
level?
But in the beginning, it's just my grandfather probably taught me work ethic because he used to do wrestling in the army and
Mm,
he was always into the gym. So I think he probably taught me, like, I had training partners that would push me through exercises and stuff. But I think he was was just like, we're going to do it no matter what type thing. Where he's one of those guys who could skip rope nonstop for an hour. And I'm just like, how
mm,
boring. Or he could do abs for an hour type thing. I'm just like, that's just stupid. And
mm,
because he was into the fitness, he'd always do cardio with me in the morning and stuff like that. So I never got any pretty much days off because, in Australia, it gets cold at winter time, like anywhere, different places. And there'll be some, because we'd always go from where I lived in Wallsend to Newcastle, was probably like 20 kilometres or more. So in the morning, we'd go on an early morning bike ride into the beach and back. And sometimes you've had headwinds that was murder because there was a lot of hills. But there
mm,
was days where I'd wake up about 4 a.m. and I mean, it was just windy and raining. I'm like, fuck yes, I get to sleep in today. I'm not getting up, no bike ride. But
mm,
sure enough, there'd be
mm,
on the bedroom window. I'm like, what the fuck? I look out, there's my grandfather on the bike, raincoat on. He's like, well, let's go. I'm like, you're fucking nuts. It's raining and windy. He's like, doesn't matter. So I think he taught me to just get up and do it no matter what. So, yeah. And then in the long run, I always felt better off for doing it. But, just thinking, you crazy old bastard, you're not going to show me up. So I'd get up and go with him.
mm. So nowadays, what are you up to these days? Are you training people? Do you have anything going in
I'm
the
gonna
bodybuilding
start.
world?
I'm gonna start an app soon called Project Giant Killer. It's going to be like one of those transformation type things,
Mm,
whether you just want to do bodybuilding or lose weight or just feel good overall. So you don't have to be a bodybuilder to do it. So general people can do it. And lately now, because I've signed with Young LA and then I'm with another, just signed with a peptide company over there, so I might start using Pep. Never used them still, even though people tell me I should with all these BP 157s and that. I'm
mm,
just like, I think it's over after all the years too. I don't care if it's an insulin needle. From
mm,
taking the gear back when I competed, I started taking needles now. I think I took a shot of Sus 250 a couple of weeks ago in an insulin needle. I'm just like, one, two, no, let me try again. One, two. And then because in an insulin needle, I'm sitting there for 2 minutes going, I got halfway through. I said, oh, fuck this. And I just threw it in the bin. So, but the thing is, because I've never been so focused on steroids. Like, yes, I know we had to use them, but too many people get so hung up on them. Like I said, I'd train with people and I'd be like, let's go heavy. And they're like, I can't go heavy. I'm like, why not? I'm not on anything. I'm like, mate, if you think that way, you're doomed from the get go. If you think you can't do it without them, you're never going to do it. To me, they were just an aid to use when you're dieting and you're limiting your food and you got to recover better. That's all I used them. I never used them as if I don't have them, I can't do this type of thing. So,
mm,
but yeah, now I'm just doing that. And like I said, I got a lot of traveling. Next week I'll be in Germany for that big fitness expo in Germany.
mm,
Then I get home from there, I think on the 24th.
mm,
And then the 1st of May, I'm going to Mexico City for 5 days. There's a big contest down there. Then I'll
mm,
be home for a week, and then I'll be over in Italy doing a tour for 2 weeks. Then
mm,
I'll be back home for 8 days, and I'll be starting the tour. I'll be at the Nashville Music City Expo with Jay Cutler and that. And
mm,
then from there, I start a 2 week tour of the United States. And then I think I'm home. I get to come home for a couple of weeks and not go anywhere. So, like I said, the traveling I hate. Even thinking about packing my bag now for next Sunday, I'm getting stressed out because once I get there, and like I said, I love the fans. Once I get down, I'm with the fans. That's the best part. But I look down and see first flight 15 hours, 3 hour layover, second flight 8 hours, and I'm like, oh. It's just like, people don't realize, like I said, Australia's a beautiful place to live, but if you got to go anywhere, it takes a long fucking time to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't covered, or do you have any questions for myself today?
No, I'm pretty easy. But like I said, I just tell people, like, if they want to get into the bodybuilding sport, well, I don't even say bodybuilding, I just say get into it like anything, just start moving. And some people say they don't have time for the gym. I'm like, you don't need to go to a gym. You can, we all know. The thing is, we all know what's good food and bad food. People say they want to lose weight, then you see what they're eating. I'm like, do you really want to lose weight if you're eating that? That's not good for you. Come on, it's like, be like me saying, like I used to joke around, chicken breast have to eat when you're dieting, but I'd have friends that say, I have Kentucky. I'm like, well, it's full of fat. And they're like, well, I take the skin off. And it's like, well, it's still not the same taking the skin off Kentucky. I know it tastes good, but it's still not as clean as chicken breast and that. So,
Mm,
yeah, but I just tell people, just get in and have fun. If you can, it's always good if you can go to the gym with somebody because sometimes, you're more accountable if you've got to meet somebody there and someone's there to push you and have fun. Because I have days where, I normally train at 5 and then I'll be like, so even like today, I'm like, well, I can go after the podcast. And I'm like, well, I should go see my mum. And then it's 12. And I'm one of those things, if I don't do it first thing in the morning, I won't do it. I just keep putting it off. They're like, I'll do it tomorrow morning. I
mm,
just feel better when I start fresh in the day training. So the
mm,
main thing is just get to the gym. Like I said, if you've got someone to meet you there, you're accountable. Because like I said, if I say I'm going to go at 8 o'clock comes, I'll go at 9. I'll go at 10. Ah, fuck it, I'll go tomorrow. So just go do it. I normally like to do it first thing in the morning before my brain has time to talk me out of it. So if I get up quick and just go, I haven't got time to come up with excuses. But the main thing is just have fun and enjoy it. And like I tell people, it does take time. I know people want to build muscle and they want to lose weight, but generally, even like I said, if you went on a clean diet, you'll drop a few kilos in the first 2 weeks, normally water weight.
mm,
That's because you're changing your foods up, cutting out sodium preservatives. But the main thing is just hang in there because I know so many people that get in and they expect results overnight, even if they've got a coach. Well, I've been doing this for 3 weeks now, I still haven't changed. It just takes time. You got to be patient.
mm,
It took you how many years to put all that weight on. It's not going to come off overnight. So just stick with it. Because even when we diet for contests, you can be really bulked up where you still got shape, but you're big.
mm,
And then you'll start dieting, get to a 6 week mark where, okay, your shoulders look good, but your waist is still blocky and your legs still whatever. So you go through this stage where you're not bulked anymore, you're not ripped. It is in between soft, spongy, looking like shit stage. And that's the point that makes or breaks you. You think, oh, do I just quit now because I've been dieting for 6 weeks and I look this bad, or do I keep going? And generally, if you keep going within a week or two, it all starts coming together. So it's like anything, just be patient. And like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, but generally, the things that you've got to work hard for,
mm,
you like it more once you get there. So the main thing is just like, but the main thing is like I always just keep saying, have fun and don't overthink it because
mm,
there's so much stuff out there now when it comes to bro science and all these different training methods. I'm like,
mm,
if you just stick to the basics, you can't go wrong. It's like
mm,
you want to go build your shoulders, do dumbbell presses, laterals, rear delt. But I think what you see now is a lot of young kids where they've just got into training and they might want to get a tricep, but they'll say, Lee, how do I build just this part of my tricep here? I'm like, why are you being so specific? Build the tricep first. It's like, it'd be like Michelangelo creating David. He's just chopping down, and you got to do the whole shoulder first before he starts etching in all the detail. But these young kids want the detail and the finer points before they've got the actual muscle there. So, like I said, just got to build the base work up first and then start getting all that finer definition in. But the main thing is just be patient. And yeah, we've all seen it too, where you're going to have four mates go to the gym,
mm,
train the same, eat the same, and one starts growing quicker. They're like, he must be on gear. Even if he's not, then the other kids might want to get on gear to keep up with him. So, don't play those head games. Just stay in your lane and do your thing. And like I said, and just enjoy it.
mm. One of the things that you touched upon that I found interesting is you said you love to eat, to give
Mhm.
insight on what that means. Does that mean you're gonna have a bigger portion? What does that portion look like? Are you gonna have burger and fries? Like, what are you thinking about a lot of the time when it comes to food?
It was never bigger portions. It was just like if I went to McDonald's, people say, Lee, what's your go-to? I never have a go-to. Or when people say, what's your favorite meal? I'm like, how can you have a favorite meal? There's too many meals out there. There could just be steak and potatoes or hamburgers or Chinese. I'm like, how do you say one's better than the other? Because they're all good. It's like when people say, what's your favorite movie? I'm like, out of all the movies I've seen, how could I pick one? There's
Mhm.
so many great action, so many great comedies, so many dramas, so many like real life stories. I'm like, how can you pick one movie and say that's you? I can't do it. So when it came to eating, I'm not someone that, when they can say, I get a large big pizza and eat it all. To me, if I had a pizza, two slices, I'm done. So I'm more like a buffet type person, even though I don't go to buffets. But if I went to McDonald's, I'd probably get just one of the small burgers, and then maybe one fillet of fish and maybe 10 nuggets and a sundae, just like little pieces of everything. So generally in the off season when I'm eating, I don't sit down to large meals. It'd be more like a cow grazing all day. I might sit down like before I had a bowl of Fruit Loops and melted cheese on toast. And now later on, like in an hour and a half, I might have scrambled eggs and toast. But then after that, I might go and have a bowl of ice cream. So I'm just sort of just picking at little things all throughout the day. I might grab out a bowl of yogurt and put some blueberries in there and have a protein drink. So I'm not really sitting down to any sort of planned out meals these days. I just sort of eat when I feel like it, and not generally just a smaller portion.
Mm. What are your thoughts about protein supplements? Are you using
Mhm.
supplements? If
Yeah.
so, what kind of supplements? Give us the
And I use like, generally a protein powder sometimes and then creatine and that, but then generally it's just multivitamins, like cod liver oil or fish oil, omega threes and sixes and nines, and then a good multivitamin, then just like a good liver one.
mm,
Like I use Liverguard 52, which is pretty good from India.
mm,
And then just stuff like that. I have what else do I take? Oh, one for joints, which I don't think it works because my joints still hurt. So
mm,
some of those I always question. They might just help the minor pains, but I'm just thinking what else I take there. But it's generally just stuff like that, just multivitamins and minerals. And I found supplementation, though, I probably use more contest time, but because I'm not competing anymore, I don't go too crazy, only because, contest time, you're restricting your food and stuff like that. So you might not be getting all the supplementation you need. But generally, it's just stuff like that. I said, like, a milk thistle or CoQ10. You just try and cover all the bases, anything that, helps with cardiovascular or liver, kidneys, and stuff like that. Even if you're not on the gear, sometimes just the amount of food and protein people eat, you want to take stuff to help guard your organs and stuff like that. So,
mm,
there's some out there I think that people push too much. People say take too many, and generally it's like anything, you just got to piss it out. So
mm.
you can take a little bit, but just don't go crazy. Again, when it comes to anything, some bodybuilders think more is better. If I take more of this, it's going to protect me more. Generally, no, it's just actually taking too many even vitamins can do you damage. So you just got to be careful.
What are your thoughts about hydrolyzed protein? Have you tried hydrolyzed protein?
Yeah, but like I said, I'm very basic. My favorite proteins are still egg white protein if you can find it places,
Mm,
When I was in America living there, there used to be one called J Rob, and it's just plain egg white protein with a bit of flavoring in it. And I found that the best. Like there's some out there now where I'm a little bit lactose intolerant. Some say they're lactose free, but still, sometimes if I have more than one or two a day, it could go through me type thing. And I know as things happen over the years too, like when a company comes out, they probably use the highest thing. You're like, wow, this is great. We've probably experienced it with companies over the years or even like not even just protein companies, just normal food. When they bring something out, it's like, wow, this is great. You love it. But then over a year or so, you're like, have they changed this? It's like, seems like they found a cheaper way to make it. So what you used to love, they're sort of skipped on the ingredients or found a cheaper source. And now you're like, this doesn't taste the same anymore. So there have been a few proteins that I have liked over the years, but towards the end, I'm like, they fucking changed that for me because now it just tastes like shit. They found a cheaper manufacturer somewhere. So yeah, but yeah, it's like it sometimes I remember, buy by looking sometimes. I remember when I was dieting, you'd walk into a store looking for protein, you'll see that birthday cake or chocolate ice cream. It's got that big picture of the chocolate sundae on the side. I'm like, oh yeah, hope it tastes like that. You get it home, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, yeah, tastes like a chocolate sundae that somebody shit in. It's like, because you're going off the picture, you're hoping it's going to be this wonderful tasting thing. And you're like, ugh. And normally when you're dieting, everything tastes good. So I remember when I was dieting, I'd eat stuff. And I'm not a big eater of celery and stuff like that, but I'd be eating crap like that. And in my mind, even just plain rice cakes, I'd be like, man, these taste good. When I finish dieting, I'm going to keep eating them because they taste so good. As soon as the diet's over, I toss them in the garbage because they taste like shit. But when you're dieting, you convince yourself how good all this food tastes.
Mhm. Nice. Well, listen, hey, you've been an amazing guest.
Thank you.